Contemplation of phenomena, mind objects. But how does the disciple dwell in contemplation of the phenomena? First, the disciple dwells in contemplation of the phenomenon of the five hindrances. He knows when there is lust in him. In me is lust. Knows when there is anger in him. In me is anger. Knows when there is torpor and drowsiness in him. In me is torpor and drowsiness. Knows when there is restlessness and mental worry in him. In me is restlessness and mental worry. Knows when there are doubts in him. In me are doubts. He knows when these hindrances are not in him. In me, these hindrances are not. He knows how they come to arise, knows how once arisen, they are overcome, knows how once overcome, they do not arise again in the future. For example, lust arises through unwise thinking on the agreeable and delightful. It may be suppressed by the following 6 methods: fixing the mind upon an idea that arouses disgust, contemplation of the loathsomeness of the body, controlling one's 6 senses, moderation in eating, friendship with wise and good men, right instruction. Lust is forever extinguished upon entrance into anagamiship. Anagamiship. Restlessness is extinguished by reaching arahatship, mental worry, by reaching sotapanship. And further, the disciple dwells in contemplation of the phenomena of the 5 groups of existence. He knows that corporeality is, how it arises, how it passes away, knows what feeling is, and how it arises. How it away, knows what perception is, how it arises, how it passes away, knows what the mental formations are, how they arise, how they pass away, knows what consciousness is, how it arises, how it passes away. And further, the disciple dwells in contemplation of the phenomena of the 6 subjective, objective sense bases. He knows eye and visual objects, ear and sounds, nose and odors, tongue and tastes, body and touches, mind and mind objects, and the fetter that arises in dependence on them. He also knows, how the fetter comes to arise, knows how the fetter is overcome, and how the abandoned fetter does not rise again in the future. And further, the disciple dwells in contemplation of the phenomena of the 7 elements of enlightenment. The disciple knows when there is attentiveness in him, when there is investigation of the law in him, when there is energy in him, when there is enthusiasm in him, when there is tranquility in him, when there is concentration in him, when there is equanimity in him. He knows when it is not in him. He knows how it comes to arise and how it is fully developed. So see, enlightenment is not some abstract, was this enlightenment or was this, and further, the disciple dwells in contemplation of the phenomena of the 4 noble truths. He knows according to reality what suffering is, knows according to reality what the origin of suffering is, he knows according to reality what the extinction of suffering is, knows according to reality what the path is that leads to the extinction of suffering. Now, see, actual reality doesn't conflict with actual reality. Maybe there's different types of reality, but thus, he dwells in contemplation of the phenomena, either with regard to his own person, or to other persons, or to both. He beholds how the phenomena arises, beholds how they pass away, beholds the arising and passing away of the phenomena. Phenomena are there. This consciousness is present in him because of his knowledge and mindfulness, and he lives independent, unattached to anything in the world. Thus does the disciple dwell in contemplation of the phenomena. The only way that leads to the attainment of purity, to the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, to the end of pain and grief, is the entering upon the right path, and the realization of nirvana is these 4 fundamentals of attentiveness. Attentiveness, yeah. Well, I'm not saying religion and spirituality does not include the psychological, because it certainly does. But you're not just processing your mind processes and that sort of thing in spirituality. There's actually a spiritual side of these things, a devotional side if it's religion.